Hi, I'm Orion, and back in front of the classic drawers, I thought I would talk about everything I've read from September up to October. Now, I feel like I missed out August. I actually should have included August, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I think August was a pretty bad month for books for me anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. So I'm going to start off with More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. It is the first Adam Silvera book that I read in his collection that I got several months ago. And it was alright. I feel like it's a bit of a synopsis. TLDR, in this world, you can get your memories folded so that you can forcibly forget them. And there is a chance that something could happen and those memories unfold and you start to remember them. It's a bit of a sad one because there is a big twist. I'm not going to talk about what the twist is or what it entails because I feel like you need to read it for yourself to properly get it. But it was really emotional, pretty sad. But my big issue was the ending. And this is the same with a lot of Silvera's books that I read. The ending just feels so anticlimactic. And you'll hear more about how I feel about his endings later on. I should probably say I gave that 3 stars out of 5. So, I liked it generally, but not that much. Next up we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. I just love this book so much. Babel by R.F. Kuang, just such a beautifully written book. It's also very sad, like the ending. I wanted to just jump out the window after reading this. I was that sad. TLDR, it is very much about institutional racism and how I don't know if saying this is right, but how universities are kind of shit. And how a lot of the things that the British government did, but I'd say does, is more to exploit other people and get ourselves ahead than anything sort of trade-wise. Which I'd say very much is topical and relevant to today. So I gave it a 5-star rating. Absolutely loved the book. I will need to charge R.F. Kuang for therapy though after reading that book because it was that much. Slight tangent. How to Make the Best Coffee at Home by James Hoffmann. I give it 3 stars. It's basically the amalgamation of everything that's in or on his YouTube channel. Because, it's about coffee. Where best to find coffee, how best to make coffee, and interesting ways to make coffee that may be different. But admittedly, I feel like this book didn't really need to exist. It's mainly just as like a reference point, in my opinion. 3 stars. After that, History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I liked it more than More Happy Than Not, but I still didn't love it. So basically, this book shows a person trying to get over the death of their ex-boyfriend / best friend, and it does it whilst it's sort of like a split kind of narrative, both in the history, like when they were together, and then after, like they will be they're sort of interlinked throughout the book. And it also shows him sort of dealing with their grief and death of his best friend / ex-boyfriend. It was really sad. But again, it's an Adam Silvera ending. I felt like it was really anticlimactic the way that it ended. And the issue I have with those two Silvera books are just a character will have a realization, like a mini revelation, and then that's where the book stops. It feels less like closure to me, and I never really liked those kinds of endings in books, and that, in my opinion, an ending is such an important part of a book, because if it has a bad ending, you are most likely, that's gonna be what sticks in your mind. Whereas if it's a good ending, it sticks, you'll think about that. So I gave that 4 stars. After that, I read something really weird. I had bought it so long ago, like over a year ago now. The Next Girl by Karla Kovacs. I didn't feel anything for the slight bit of romance in the book. I thought that was really shoehorned in for no apparent reason. I think it was just the case of, this isn't a genre for me. And yeah, it didn't work for me. I think it's just a genre thing. I have genres that I avoid, and I figured out that this thriller, mystery thriller, detective type thing just isn't for me. And that's all I can really say. So I did give it 2 stars, but I do feel like that is kind of harsh. Now, the last things I read in September was the Alice Oseman reread. Yes, I did that basically the best part, well, just over a week at the end of September, start of October. This is probably going to be the last time I mention that video, because it has been mentioned basically every video since then. But all of my opinions on Alice's books are in that, so yeah. And also in the tier list video. I really love calling back to my old videos, by the way. Yeah, it's just a thing. Not to be annoying. I'm doing the annoying YouTuber thing here, so please smash the like button if you've been liking my opinions so far, and maybe leave a comment on how you've been feeling. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. And so we move on to October, and we start off the month with How to Be a Social Media Influencer by Marianne O'Connor. All I feel like I need to say is it should have been a free PDF. The book has no reason to exist. And unlike How to Make the Best Coffee at Home, none of it is really a revelation. None of it is that interesting to read. So I gave it a grand total of 1 star. A free PDF would have been sick. That would have been all I needed. And now we get into the books that I read, or rather listened to, as part of a challenge video last month. It was the Trying Every Book format, which was a couple of videos ago. So I started off with The Art of War by Sun Tzu as an audiobook, and I decided not to rate it because it felt unfair. It was my first time properly listening to an audiobook, and I didn't pick up anything from it. I think I was just too busy focusing on making a YouTube thumbnail that I didn't really take in too much. After that, the ebook I read, which I conveniently have my Kobo right with me right now. I'm currently reading Fated Winds and Promising Seas by Rose Black as an advanced reader copy. Thank you to NetGalley, Rose Black, and Hodescape for that. For the ebook, anyway. I read A Good Demon Is Hard to Find by Kate Moseman. Oh my god, I don't think I've read a romance book that I was like, yeah, this is fun, this is silly. I generally try to avoid a lot of heterosexual romances. But this one, it was so silly and so fun to read. TLDR, a woman basically manages to summon a demon by cursing her ex-husband, and they get revenge on the ex-husband, and they fall in love, essentially. It was one of those things, it's so silly and ridiculous that it's just like, you know what? Yeah, maybe the Straits have something. Maybe the Straits have one win. And moving swiftly on to The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I read it as a hardback, which I cannot be asked to get out, up and get right now. Quite frankly, it is just a beautiful book. I know one person close to me said that it was boring and they didn't get into the characters. Personally, I say that's a skill issue. It's just such a beautiful queer book. It's one of those things I feel like everyone needs to read it at some point in their lives. And I'm just realising now that I am slightly off centre. That's fun. So of course I give it a 5 stars. It was a reread. I do think I didn't love it as much the second time, but it could have been the fact that I read it over such a long time, so who knows. And then after that I read A Week in Tokyo by Jose Daniel Alvear. This was an arc from NetGalley and Unbound, so thank you to them as well as the author for giving me that free digital arc. I really appreciated it, but I didn't love the book. Essentially it sort of shows a man who has gone over to Tokyo for a week to see someone that he has sort of been hooking up with and sort of slowly fell in love with, obviously in Tokyo. But over that week they realise that that man is not a good guy. He found out that he lied about something. I'm trying not to spoil things. Turned out he was a liar, and the main character just lost trust with him. I didn't love the way that it was sort of structured or paced. I feel as though that sort of tension that arises would have been a lot more interesting to see sort of slightly earlier on in the book, because when that sort of happens, it is sort of closer to like the 75% mark, and I feel like it would have been a lot more interesting to see the sort of tensions and emotions sort of sustained, you know, as sort of kind of like the bell curve adventure novels. I think people have seen the bell curve. And then after that, I read the final Adam Silvera book in the collection. That being They Both Die at the End. It's very popular on Book Talk, so I feel like I don't even need to talk too much about it, but I feel like it's very much the best of Silvera's books that I have read. For one, the ending felt right. And it sort of deviated from his sort of cliched realisation end thing that Silvera has going on. As sort of a synopsis, I feel like I'd say, imagine you knew that you were going to die at least 24 hours before you did. Two guys come together through an app called Lost Friend who are both dying. They both know they're gonna die in the next 24 hours, and they just live. And it's really beautiful. It's also very sad, just like every Silvera book. I don't think there's actually ever been a happy Silvera book, so that's why I'm going to slightly avoid his books in future, because I like to read happy stuff from time to time, and I think I've been reading a lot of books with sort of heavy stuff going on, so I feel like I'm gonna need something happy soon. But I rated They Both Die at the End at a 4 stars, which kind of ties it with History Is All You Left Me, but yeah. We are nearly done. The last book that I finished in October was Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I needed something sweet. I needed something silly. It's not really silly. But I also listened to it as an audiobook over the span of a week. It was really relaxing because I listened to it in bed a lot of times. So I was really like chilled out, and Howl's Moving Castle It's so brilliant. Obviously, I came into it after watching the film many years ago, and there are a lot of differences between the book and the film, naturally. For one, I feel like the book is just more, it adds more sort of context around Sophie herself. We see Sophie, you know, growing up as the eldest of, is it 3 sisters? And her other sisters are elsewhere. One is training to be a witch, and the other is, I can't actually remember. But yeah, the book is just more. It also, I feel like, characterizes Howl very slightly differently. Compared to the films, I think he's more sort of standoffish than in the films. The film, even. But it's a beautiful piece of media. I really enjoyed listening to it, and as such, I give it 4 stars. I don't think it's quite 5-star for me now, but yeah. Now, there are 2 books that I started in October but have not finished. Those being, again, Fated Winds and Promising Seas by Rose Black. And something that I don't want to talk about too much, The Highway Code. Yeah, I am doing my theory test at the end of this month. So, because I need to be able to drive. I want to get out of this house so badly. You guys don't even understand. I do not love it here. Then again, that's just Britain in general, isn't it? But anyway, that is very much it for this video. If you like this video and want to see more, please be sure to subscribe to see more of my content, and then click the notification bell to get notified whenever I make a new video. And maybe like it if you like it, dislike it if you think it sucked. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, but that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Orion, signing out.